I do believe that you do need to consider training people on some approach, some framework that is optimized to look, especially if we're talking about Horizon 3 type possibilities. Things that are not even on, they're out there, but they're not in the plan yet. But they will be, or they should be at some point. If you buy into Jeffrey Moore's approach in organizational strategy, what you would do is you would zone your company, your people, into 4 zones. The zone that would handle the planning and the look at Horizon 3 would be a group of people on behalf of the organization and the corporate body that would take that responsibility. That group is what gets trained. So you really have a focus group of people who begin to get the tools, the method, the language, the mindset. Very different than Horizon 1. The Horizon 1 group has to be locked down to short-term growth and extracting as much inefficiency out of the core business as they can, the core operations, to increase your margins. You don't want them to get distracted and sub-optimized trying to worry about the Horizon 3 stuff. So it's almost, for me, the process begins with high-level understanding who should be involved with a Horizon 3 versus who really needs to be in 1. It's kind of an important segmentation. And I do agree with Jeffrey Moore on this, that by doing this, you really do get focus. You do get people optimized towards performance areas that are much different in terms of simultaneous, ambidextrous type of organization.
Mm-hmm. And how can you select these kind of people? Because you have to identify them, I guess. Are there some characteristics of the people who are more suitable for these?
These are really good questions. Just on a side note, but related, I do a lot of coaching, consulting around design thinking teams, right? So these are highly passionate, small group of people who are given a mandate to start doing innovation, even on just core business, right? Incremental innovation on the core business. And I always get this question: who should we pick to put on the team, right? And in a small way, in a focused design team handling a problem statement, they usually say, functionally, you need somebody who understands the basic business, right? The fundamental operation of the business. Then you need somebody who's fundamentally your technology perspective. And this notion of technology and business is important. And then the most important one in a design team is who represents the voice of the customer as far as internal look, right? You get this kind of 3 different cross-functional perspectives you need to provide the diversity so you don't fail in any one of those 3. And then there's a set of other, what I call more minor characteristics. Now, if you think about that in Horizon 3 type of environment, at Stanford, what we used to teach is you need at least one crazy person. The crazy person is not going to buy into your current business model. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that their mindsets are, what are we not doing that we haven't thought about that we should be doing that could be a possibility? And they're thinking magically, if I would. They have rich imaginations about the future outcomes of the business. So I think that, number one, you need a crazy person. And by the way, you can spot these people. They're usually rebels. They don't follow process. They've got 100 ideas about what they can be doing and so forth. And I've met them. Like I said, they're easy to spot if you know what you're looking for. And then once you really begin to understand the process, right, of strategic thinking in the moments that we have now, I would say you would still apply some of the same types of things. You want somebody who understands the basic business operational structure, just to make sure that There's a representation of the core there. You want somebody who can, prophesize, if you would, about technology. Quantum computing in 5 years could be doing these 6 things for us if we really understood, these applications, et cetera. And then again, on the customer side, I think this is far more expansive, because I think this really is about potentially defining entirely brand new markets, entirely brand new, if you would, as they say, ecosystem offers. And I really believe that starts to bring a whole different sense of dialogue to the team in a very rich and deep way when you're talking about the much stronger opportunities for transformation growth and not just incremental growth, but real transformational issues. And the last one I'll bring up, which I've been talking about now for 18 years, and it's coming, it's here. Because of the disruption that we're seeing, the rate of companies coming and going, the organizational life cycle is decreasing, it's not increasing. I truly believe you have to have what I call the mindset, at least, or the skill set of having organizational engineers. Organizational engineers. They've had enough experience within maybe marketing, maybe in the back office and some, corporate support function, and some, line management responsibilities, that they know enough of the systems of the company that could either be extracted if they need to get into a Horizon 3 project, or they would be able to understand how to build it into the core engine as these ideas, come through the pipeline. So that's a kind of this is a transformational role that I see happening. And it's not a chief operating officer like we've known in the past. It's a very different kind of organizational design strategist, for the lack of a better word. But that's my quick take on, Minim. And again, there are hundreds of opinions about the kind of people who should be up there. I think the challenge we get into is we tend to believe it's only the C-suite is risky by itself. And so you got to start talking about the personality types, the knowledge base that you've got. And the more diverse, the less risk you have, the more creativity you're going to do. And we know this from all the innovation research that's gone on the last 20 years. The more diverse your team is, the more creative they're going to be. There's going to be more conflict, but conflict is a creative friction that creates new ideas, simply because it builds the possibility of different options.